Do not believe the lies of pain. God will reveal a miraculous version in 40 days. The words echoed through the quaint English village, filling the air with an electric fervor. Villagers shook their heads at the audacity of hope, but Mary, a devoted single mother, clung to every syllable as if it were lifeline. Her young son, Ethan, lay in agony, the result of a tragic accident that had shattered their peaceful life. Medical professionals were puzzled, their solutions mere whispers against the chaos of her heart. A heaviness clung to the corners of her soul like a dark fog. But deep within that shroud were embers of faith, the teachings of her church igniting a spark. Mary remembered the sacred power of communal prayer. In her village, where lush, rolling hills cradled a love for God, she decided to call for a daily novena. It was time for the village to come together each evening. The quaint church shone with the warm glow of candles, their flickering flames dancing as if alive with divine purpose. The soft murmur of prayers filled the air, harmonizing with hymns that echoed through wooden beams. An atmosphere of reverence draped over the villagers like a comforting quilt. Yet, as days turned into weeks, the doubts of some townsfolk began to seep in. Mary felt their skepticism pierce her resolve. They questioned her faith, whispered about the impossibility of miracles. Shadows loomed, threatening to suffocate her prayers. Still, Mary stood firm, her heart ablaze with unwavering conviction. Goddess Grace was never far away, and oh, how she prayed! With each word, she envisioned the miraculous revival of her son. Then came the signs. Small, fleeting smiles from Ethan that lit the dark edges of despair. A sudden burst of energy that sent ripples of hope through the community. His laughter bounced in the walls of the chapel like a heavenly choir, reminding all of the divine love that fortified their bonds. Clerical representatives visited, their words offering comfort. Yet even their interpretations seemed to waver, adding weight to her burden. But Mary refused to back down. On the last day of the novena, the village gathered inside the chapel, a sacred sanctuary adorned with shining stained glass that cast brilliant colors upon their expectant faces. A heavy silence enveloped them, thick with hope and unspoken fears. They held their breath, praying with hearts wide open for a miraculous intervention as tears spilled in devotion. Mary felt a profound presence washing over her, an intoxicating warmth that whispered of mercy and grace. Suddenly, the skies opened wide, a torrential downpour saturating the earth as the community prayed fervently, undeterred by the storm. Above the thundering raindrops, Mary heard Ethan's voice rising from the chapel, filled with a raw energy she had longed to hear. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As each prayer ascended, so did Mary's pulse. The truth of their collective faith coursed through her. The winds howled like messengers bearing witness, and in that sacred moment, tears of desperation turned into tears of faith. What would unfold in response to their prayers? Was a miraculous turn of fate on the horizon? The villagers and Mary stood together on the edge of uncertainty, hearts racing as faith intermingled with hushed doubts. God's plan, it seemed, was about to unveil itself in ways they had yet to comprehend. The storm raged outside, but within the chapel, a peaceful hush enveloped the congregation. Mary's heart raced, each beat echoing with whispers of hope and unshakable belief. She raised her hands, trembling slightly, and closed her eyes, feeling the warmth of the flickering candlelight against her skin, a gentle reminder of God's enduring presence. Lord, she murmured, I trust in your promise. I believe in the miracle you are preparing. Her voice was soft, yet resolute, wrapping around the rays of faith shared among the villagers. She opened her eyes just in time to catch Ethan's gaze from the corner of the chapel. Tears of joy blurred her sight, but she swore she saw a flicker of understanding there, a light that was beginning to break through his own darkness. Around her, the villagers joined hands, squeezing one another's palms as their unity pulsed through the room. They recited the last prayer of the novena together, their voices melding into a symphony of hope that filled the rafters and ascended like incense. The weight of skepticism began to lift, replaced by an intoxicating belief that seemed to wash over them like the rain outside. That as the final amen echoed, the atmosphere shifted. A profound silence took hold, as if the world outside had vanished, consumed by the depth of their intentions. Even the storm seemed to pause, holding its breath alongside the congregation. The way forward, the path of miracles, lay thick and dense before them, waiting for a single step, a single act of faith to stir it into motion. Then, in an unexpected eruption, Ethan erupted into a fit of laughter, a sound pure and unguarded that drew every eye toward him. Mary turned, startled but elated to see her son, a glimmer of life bursting forth from the shadows of his suffering. His laughter was infectious. It sparked a wave of joy among the villagers, their solemn expressions melting into smiles. "Did you hear that?" One villager gasped. "Is this real? I can feel it." Another added, his voice trembling with excitement. "Goddess healing is upon us." Mary rushed to Ethan, her heart swelling. "Ethan, my sweet boy, what is happening?" she asked, her voice thick with disbelief and wonder. She knelt beside him, cradling his face in her hands, searching for any sign that this joyous sound was more than a fleeting moment. "I heard them, Mum," he exclaimed, eyes wide, his breath slick with exhilaration. "I heard them all, everyone praying for me." He was glowing, illuminated by an unseen light that seemed to pour from his very being. Ethan's laughter sparked hope anew, igniting flames where only embers had smoldered. "How could I ever doubt that God listens?" he continued, his small shoulders shaking with delight. "He heard us, Mum. He really did." Mary's heart brimmed with gratitude. The joy radiating from her son filled her spirit to overflowing. She turned back to the villagers, who now broke into soft praises, reverberating with the realization that miracles were indeed woven into the fabric of their faith. But just as the tide of joy swelled, a flash of doubt broke through the clouds of hope. What if this moment, however beautiful, was fleeting? What if pain and despair still lingered? They had prayed so fervently, but what lay ahead? The question hung in the air, thickening the atmosphere with a sense of urgency. As laughter echoed through the chapel, they stood at the cliff of uncertainty, teetering between joy and fear. Could they hold onto this miracle, or would they slip back into their despair? The answer, it seemed, lay just beyond the horizon of their collective faith. With hearts intertwined and hope ignited, Mary and the villagers were left to wonder. What would the next days bring, and how would they embrace the divine unfolding of God's plan? The air inside the chapel felt electric, charged with possibility. Mary rose to her feet, heart pounding with an undying hope. The villagers around her were still buoyed by Ethan's laughter, a spirit of renewal seemingly woven through the air. But as warmth enveloped them, the shadows of doubt curled silently at the edges of their hearts. "Listen to your hearts," a voice whispered from deep within her. Was it her own or something divine? The congregation, still holding hands, looked from face to face, eyes glinting with a mix of astonishment and newfound joy. "Brothers and sisters," Mary called, her voice steady but tinged with urgency. "We cannot forget where we've come from, nor can we ignore the trials that lie ahead. This miracle is ours to cherish, but we must prepare ourselves too." The villagers exchanged glances. In the glimmer of the candlelight, doubt loomed like a distant storm cloud, but Mary noticed a flicker of resolve, sparking like kindling in the cold. "What do we do now?" Ethan asked, his voice trembling slightly, yet filled with a confidence that spoke of trust. Mary knelt again before him, feeling the softness of his cheek under her hand. "We remember that faith is not just believing in moments of joy but holding fast through the storms. God works in mysterious ways, but we must seek His presence, even when things seem bleak." A stirring washed over the group. An elderly woman, Emma, who had seen many seasons of life, stood up slowly, her slight frame trembling. "Mary's right. We must not falter. God's promise is true, but we have to do our part too. Prayer and action must go hand in hand." A murmur of agreement rippled through the congregation. The storm outside was nothing compared to the tempest that raged within their hearts. Each faced the truth of their ongoing struggles, but somehow, in sharing that challenge, a strength began to emerge. They began to share their burdens openly: the widow who worried about her children's future, the farmer whose fields were failing, the young couple unsure of their path forward. Each confession built a new layer of connection, a web of compassion woven between them. Mary stepped forward, emboldened by the spirit of community. "Let us commit to a new season of prayer for healing, not just for Ethan, but for all of us. We will gather here, every day for 40 days, to bring our needs before God. We will show our faith through this act of togetherness." The congregation nodded, smiles breaking through the clouds of uncertainty. "Yes, we will meet, pray, and support each other," they echoed. Ethan looked at his mother, excitement sparkling in his eyes. "Can we ask God to reveal something special to us in these days? Something miraculous?" A wave of anticipation rippled through the gathering. Mary could feel the atmosphere shift again, the whispers of hope mingling with expectation. "Yes, my dear. Let us ask God to reveal himself, to show us the miracles he has in store, even if we cannot see them yet." As the group began to rally around this shared purpose, Mary felt a warmth swell within her, a depth of peace that somehow penetrated the uncertainty swirling around them. The flickering candles illuminated the courage that had taken root in their hearts. Little did they know, the days ahead would not only test their faith, but also reveal hidden blessings, as God would weave their desires and prayers into a grand tapestry of love and healing. Just as the chapel filled with hope, the sudden crack of thunder outside reminded them of the storm still at bay. But that night, for once, the storm seemed distant, overshadowed by an inner light that promised to carry them through. What would they discover in the coming days? Could this commitment lead to miracles they had yet to fathom? The days flowed gently, like a river winding through the valleys of their lives. Each morning dawned with the promise of a fresh start, and the villagers felt a renewed sense of purpose as they gathered. Though shadows of uncertainty still darted about, each face illuminated with hope, eager to meet the challenges ahead. On the first day, they came together in the chapel. The air was thick with anticipation and prayer. Mary looked around, her heart swelling with gratitude. She could see the way they leaned into each other as stories, listening, caring, and cradling each burden with tenderness. The widow spoke of sleepless nights filled with worry, but also of whispers of faith that carried her through. The farmer shared how drought had taken so much, yet his fields still held the promise of life. As they shared, tears mingled with laughter, hope clashed with sorrow, and in that sacred space, every word felt like a seed sown in good soil. "God knows our hearts," Mary reminded them. "He listens to our cries. Let us lift up our prayers for healing, for guidance, and for miracles." The villagers echoed back the affirmation. The little chapel became a sanctuary, a refuge against the storms of life outside. As the evening prayers concluded, they lit candles together, their small flames flickering brightly as a symbol of their joint faith. Each flame represented a hope, a prayer, a miracle just waiting to blossom. As the days passed, strange occurrences began to unfold. Little miracles, seemingly small but significant, revealed themselves if one chose to see. The elderly Emma found a forgotten bag of seeds while cleaning her attic. The widow learned that her children had been gifted with school supplies by a kind-hearted stranger. Ethan, whose laughter had sparked this movement, began sharing his dreams with his mother at night, visions filled with colors and joy, a reminder that life was, indeed, vibrant. Mary noticed changes in everyone. Even the farmer, usually stoic and withdrawn, began to share not only his worries but also the fruits of his labor with neighbors, fostering community in the process. As they united in their prayers, their souls intertwined, and their collective spirit grew strong. But amidst the joy, knives of doubt still twisted in the quiet corners of their minds. Mary sensed it, an uninvited guest lurking in the shadows. On the 10th night, a storm broke out. A fierce roar of wind rattled the chapel windows, shaking the hearts of those within. The atmosphere grew dense with unease. Mary gathered everyone tightly, holding Ethan firmly to her side. "Remember," she whispered, her voice piercing through the clamor. "When we pray, we stand on sacred ground. In the face of storms, we do not falter. We dig deeper into faith, for walls may shake but spirits can soar." The flames of their candles flickered wildly but did not go out. Instead, they burned brighter, casting dancing shadows upon the walls. The villagers, wide-eyed and grasping hands, began to sing. Their voices united, a soothing balm against the raging tempest outside. "Your love endures forever," they sang, their voices interweaving like threads of devotion. As they lifted their hearts in song, the wind howled, but it became a distant echo, submerged beneath their harmony. They felt God's presence swell in the room, the air thickening with assurance and warmth. With a heavy heart, Mary could not shake the feeling that they were on the brink of something profound, something that would test the very core of their beliefs. As she looked at the faces around her, she knew they were not merely praying for strength but asking for transformation. What awaited them in the next few days? What divine manifestations lay beyond the veil of their prayers? Would they be ready to face the truth they would soon uncover? The storm raged on outside, but within the chapel, an unwavering light beckoned. With each note of their song, a wave of comfort surged through the hearts of the villagers, wrapping them in a warm embrace. They lifted their faces towards the flickering flames, entranced by the dance of light that mirrored their faith. A hush fell over them, as if heaven itself paused to listen. Mary felt the weight of the moment heavy in her spirit. She understood then that their collective prayers were a bridge, a pathway through even the darkest uncertainties. As the final note of their hymn lingered like a whisper in the air, a profound stillness replaced the chaos outside. It was at that moment that a sudden, soft glow enveloped the room, brighter than the flicker of their candles. "Did you see that?" someone in the crowd gasped, breaking the silence. Eyes widened as villagers turned toward the source of the light, their breaths hitching in anticipation. Each flicker mirrored drips of divine energy, their hearts trembling with the sensation of something extraordinary unfolding. Mary felt her heart quicken. The presence of God felt almost tangible now, touching the very essence of their gathering. "What do you see?" she asked, her voice steady yet filled with amazement. I see the faces of those we've lost," whispered the widow, tears glistening in her eyes. "They smile at us." A murmur of agreement swelled as others shared their visions, each story mingling into a tapestry of hope. Echoes of lost dreams and unfinished songs reverberated in that sacred space. A shared spirit of what could be filled their hearts, igniting visions of a future where pain bowed before the light of love. "I never thought," the farmer trailed off, his voice breaking as realization took root. "I always feared what lay ahead. But now I see growth, fruits of our labor, hope that even in drought, life finds a way." The villagers leaned closer together. Each disclosure served as a gentle reminder that they needed to reclaim their visions, images of strength and resilience that could rise from any storm. The candle flames danced higher, mirroring the growing warmth around them, a divine confirmation that they stood together, fortified by faith. Mary stepped forward, emboldened by the revelation. "Friends, look around. We are not alone in this. Our dreams, however distant, call to us. These miraculous stirrings, these visions, are evidence of God's promises being fulfilled." Ethan, his eyes shimmering with wonder, piped up, "Mom, what if we are meant to see more? What if this is just the beginning?" A ripple of excitement flowed through the crowd. They could feel it, the gentle nudging, the assurance that miracles awaited, even as they faced their own trials. The journey wasn't going to be easy, but that night they embraced a truth. God was preparing them for transformation, a resurrection of purpose. Many whispered prayers of gratitude, yet Mary sensed the deeper questions brimming beneath their joy. What does this transformation entail? She mused softly. Are we truly ready for the changes God desires for us? They were on the precipice of a sacred journey that would challenge their very essence, but it also whispered of growth, a metamorphosis to embody divine love more fully. Thoughts spun in her mind like autumn leaves in the wind. But would they be brave enough to follow where God led? Would they cherish the dreams unfolding, even if they led to uncomfortable truths? As the candles flickered and the glow of hope radiated, Mary could only wonder, what would the next 40 days reveal? The air grew thick with expectation. They would soon find out. The air was still, almost electric with possibility. Mary could feel it hanging around them like a thick mist, one that promised clarity but required heart and courage to navigate. The storm outside continued its ferocious dance. Yet inside the chapel, they found sanctuary not only from the elements but from their own struggles. As silence settled back into the room, Mary turned her thoughts inward. She had witnessed countless challenges in the villagers' lives, the loss of loved ones, droughts, economic hardships. But tonight was different. The light that now enveloped them was not merely a flicker of hope. It was a testament to their resilience, their unwavering spirits in the face of adversity. One by one, villagers began to share their own hearts, a beautiful outpouring of vulnerable truths. I dreamed of my father, whispered the young artist. He told me to create more, to not hold back my gifts. A shared nod spread among them, a silent acknowledgement of what lay buried in their hearts, the need to express, to create, and to live boldly in their God-given calling. The widow added, I used to despair over my loneliness, but I see now that I am never alone. I have friends, I have family, and I can be the light for others. Each voice, each story became a brushstroke in this divine mural of transformation, revealing the myriad colors of faith. Mary found her spirit lifting with each affirmation. A soft warmth radiated from her chest, reminding her of the precious connection they shared, a bouquet of souls intertwined through shared trials and joys. Together, we can face anything, Ethan declared, a fire igniting in his young eyes. If we're seeing this light, maybe it's a sign that something amazing is unfolding already. His words struck a chord, resonating deeply within the crowd. Suddenly, laughter erupted, mingling with tears. The weight of their burdens lightened just a bit. In that holy moment, collective strength surged through the chapel like a river of living water. What if? Mary spoke out, her voice steady and powerful. We embraced the next 40 days as a sacred journey. What if we intentionally open our hearts to see what God reveals, one step at a time? What if? Someone echoed, ripples of anticipation pulsing through the gathering. As they contemplated her words, a sense of urgency emerged. God could ignite miracles through their collective faith if they would only let him. She could see the flickers of determination in their eyes, a resolve to seek not just comforts but purpose. They began to discuss plans. One brave soul suggested weekly prayer meetings, while another envisioned a community garden to nourish both body and spirit. Each idea flourished, laying fertile ground for their intentions to take root. Let us remember these days, Mary encouraged. Let us document our journeys, our little victories, and the divine whispers that guide us. The crowd murmured in agreement, a wave of enthusiasm washing over them. Hope and purpose intertwined, weaving them closer together. Yet amidst the rising excitement, a shadow of doubt slinked in the corners of her mind. Was every heart truly open to this journey? Would fears spring forth, trying to stifle their resolve? As if reading her thoughts, a gentle reminder washed over the assembly, one that whispered, "You are the children of promise." In that moment, Mary recognized a deep truth. The journey would require faith to withstand the trials that lay ahead, but together, they could create a tapestry of testimonies. Mary gazed at the flickering candles, their flames dancing with vitality, and breathed in the sacred stillness. What must we confront in our hearts to embrace this promise? She pondered. With eyes shining and hearts ignited, they would forge ahead into the unknown. And as the storm continued to rage outside, they remained in joyful expectation, ready to witness a miraculous transformation in 40 days. But what would it truly require of them? What depths of faith and courage were still to be explored? Only time would tell. The night wore on, Yet the chapel pulsed with life, an oasis of connection amid the swirling storm outside. Mary noticed how the light from the candles seemed to grow brighter as they shared their hopes. Each flicker flickered with a willingness to embrace whatever was to come. "Let us think, friends," she said, her voice threading through the gathering. "What if God asks us to lay down our burdens as we embark on this journey together?" Ethan, still filled with youthful enthusiasm, leaned forward. "I once heard it said that we have to be vulnerable to heal. Maybe our honesty can break chains for others too." Nods of agreement washed over the circle. A spirit of vulnerability settled in the room, each heart beginning to uncover the hidden grief and regret that often lay dormant. Laughter mixed with tears, and in that sacred exchange, walls began to crumble as Mary observed. She could feel the pull of something grander. What if, she speculated, her voice a soft melody amidst the gathering, we could document not only our struggles but the moments when God intervenes. The small victories and the gentle nudges? A woman from the back, marred with the burden of recent loss, stood with trembling hands raised. "Yes, I want to share how God has whispered to me through my pain. A friend reminded me that even in darkness, He is urging us toward light." The room exhaled as others resonated with her words. In sharing, their souls polished the rough edges of grief and transformed sorrow into strength. This was no longer just a gathering. It was a movement formed of love and faith, a crucible where brokenness would yield beauty. "Every day will be a new opportunity," Mary said, her heart swelling with hope. "Let us take turns leading prayer meetings. Let us open our hearts wide and see what God reveals." With renewed energy, they formed small groups, eager to strategize how they would document their journey. Some suggested keeping journals, while others wanted to create a shared book of testimonies. This would be their sacred archive, a living record of unfolding miracles, both big and small. Just then, a gust of wind rattled the chapel door, making hearts flutter for a moment. It was only a reminder, a nudge that they weren't seeking something ordinary. They were on the precipice of extraordinary. "Remember," Mary emphasized, "the promise is not just for us. As we transform, our community will feel the ripple of hope too. How many lives might change because we are willing to let God work through us?" The room buzzed, an electric hum of faith and purpose. They imagined families renewed, broken hearts healed, and spirits set free into a vibrant community. But shadows still loomed in some hearts, the unvoiced doubts and fears clinging tightly. Mary felt the weight of those uncertainties resting heavily in the air. Pain insisted that they stay guarded, that the storm might still saturate their spirit. In a moment of divine clarity, a thought settled over her. What lies are keeping us from stepping into our truth? What lie are we willing to confront? The silence that followed was heavy but laced with potential, the gentle unraveling of chains. One by one, they began to share their apprehensions, unearthing the deep-seated fears that had long since festered in silence. "I'm scared of failing," Ethan confessed, his voice shaking. "What if I let others down?" A few spoke of their fear of vulnerability, and others voiced the uncertainty that came from a world of disappointments. Yet, with every revelation, the room shifted, filled with whispers of courage to confront such lies. "We are not alone in this," someone declared. "Together, our faith is our strength." As things quieted back down, Mary felt a rising tide of conviction. What if this journey of 40 days is less about the outcomes and more about embracing the process? About learning to see God in every moment, good or bad? The answer reverberated. A deep truth lay in walking this path together, being willing to bear each other's burdens. The storm outside rumbled louder now, a deep growl resonating with their own doubts but also igniting their resolve. This was not just about the next 40 days. It was about their lives being molded in the fires of adversity and crafted into something new. As Mary took a breath, her spirit lifted, dancing with knowledge that they were on the brink of something profound. "Let us gather our first thoughts for tomorrow's meeting. We will begin documenting the whispers, the nudges from God, whatever He reveals." In the hush that followed, anticipation kicked in again. A deep sigh of covenant promise settled among the gathered hearts. But what other truths awaited them in the days to come? What hidden lessons lay in the folds of their fears, waiting to be uncovered? The chapel felt alive, each soul intertwined in a shared mission. Mary observed the soft glow of the candles, illuminating faces marked by hope and uncertainty. The air thrummed with unspoken desires, a collective yearning for transformation. It was a beautiful chaos, a meeting point of vulnerability and faith as they settled into smaller groups. The sound of gentle murmuring filled the space. An unstructured rhythm emerged as stories unfolded. Mary wandered among them, listening intently. She felt drawn to Sarah, who sat with a notebook resting on her lap, furrowed brow mapping her thoughts. "Sarah, what's on your heart?" Mary asked, kneeling beside her. "I want to share my story," she whispered, "but I don't know if it matters. So many have faced worse." "Every story matters," Mary emphasized gently. "Every word carries weight. God sees the beauty in your struggle." Sarah looked up, and the corners of her mouth twitched into a tentative smile. "Okay, I'll try." Gathering her courage, she began. "Last year, I lost my job, and with it, I felt I'd lost my purpose. I thought I could never rise again. Yet, in that darkness, I began to pray differently. I learned to listen. One evening, while walking, I felt an undeniable warmth. I knew he was there." A soft gasping of awe rippled through the group. Sarah continued, emboldened now. "I started journaling, pouring everything out. Each entry became a step toward understanding, and I began to see glimpses of hope." "Glorious," someone murmured. "Hope grows in darkness." Mary felt the spirit swell, a divine tapestry woven with each heart laid bare. They shared their stories with each other, transforming silence into strength. Each life stitched into one narrative of faith. It was as if every shared story peeled away layers of paint that obscured the genuine beauty beneath. "Let us capture these moments in our archive," Mary encouraged. "Every piece of hope, every nudge of revelation. What has God revealed to you in your moments of doubt?" Hands shot up. Voices intermingled like a choir. Ethan excitedly shared how he felt God guiding him during moments of indecision. Others revealed how dreams once thought lost began to flicker with life. Mary felt tears prick at the corners of her eyes. This was what they had set out to do, lay their burdens down together. "Isn't it astounding?" she said, her heart swelling. "God transforms our struggles into testimonies of strength." As laughter erupted, the overwhelming sound of community enveloped the chapel. The storm outside was nothing more than a backdrop to the divine gathering of spirits yearning for light. But even amidst the joy, Mary sensed the weight lingering in some of their hearts. "What about our fears?" she probed gently. "Are there lies we still cling to, chains that keep us from accepting his promises?" A hush settled over them. "I keep thinking that I'm not enough," one quiet voice said. "That I'll never be what God wants me to be. I worry others will see my flaws and turn away," another murmured. Mary stepped forward, conviction filling her. "Those lies are what hold us back. God uses our flaws. Our testimonies are meant to shine through our imperfections. We are reflections of his grace." A murmur of agreement rippled through the room. At that moment, a heavy truth fell away like dry leaves shedding in autumn. "Let us confront these lies together." Someone suggested, "What if we created a circle of accountability to remind each other of who we really are?" "Yes," came their enthusiastic response. Mary's heart glimmered with excitement. "Let us take turns challenging these lies head-on. We'll declare God's truth over each other, lifting our spirits when the darkness whispers." The noise in the room grew, voices overlapping in an embrace of eager agreement. The storm's howling seemed to pull back. Inside the chapel, the radiance of unity and shared faith conquered all as they weaved these powerful ideas. The looming words of hope reached the surface, echoing in their hearts, pushing them toward courage. Today was but the beginning. What other lies still lay hidden, waiting to be revealed in the coming days? What miraculous versions of themselves were they yet to uncover? As the warmth of connection surrounded them, Mary sensed an electric anticipation. The gathering had ignited a spark, and she could feel it growing. It was a whirlwind of hope and possibility sweeping through the hearts of those present. "Can you feel that?" A voice broke through the excitement. It was Ethan, his eyes bright with enthusiasm. It's like we're on the brink of something big. Mary nodded, her spirit soaring. Absolutely. God is stirring within us. Each word we share is a note in a beautiful symphony of faith. The group quieted, drawn into a moment of contemplation. Each person's heart beat as one, a gentle cadence of shared vulnerability. The flickering candle flames danced in sync with their breath, a divine rhythm weaving them closer together. Let us do something daring, Sarah suggested, rising slowly from her seat. Let us commit to sharing our fears openly. The ones that keep us up at night. The ones that claw at our self-worth. A palpable silence cloaked the room. It was the kind of silence that held both fear and liberation, an invitation to deeper trust. I'll start, she offered, her voice steady but soft. I'm terrified of being a failure. I worry that despite my efforts, I won't fulfill the calling I feel in my heart. That opened a floodgate. Voices emerged, one by one, laying bare their struggles. I fear being alone, another confessed, vulnerability trembling in their words. I worry I'll never heal from my past, came a voice from the back, tinged with sorrow. Mary moved closer, her heart breaking for them. But what if we stop allowing these fears to define us? What if instead, we wrapped ourselves in God's promises? Yes, Ethan exclaimed. What if we wrote down these fears and then burned them as an act of surrender? A joyful release into God's hands. Yes, Sarah echoed, her eyes shining with clarity. Let the smoke carry them away. Excitement rippled through the group as they began to brainstorm how to turn this moment into transformative action. Let us meet every week, someone suggested. We can encourage one another, share stories, and do practical things like the burning. We can walk this journey together. A sense of purpose filled the air. With every mention of accountability and support, hope surged higher. The burdens they carried felt lighter as they invited God deeper into the fray. Keep these conversations alive, Mary urged, her spirit thrumming. Let us strengthen each other. Let us declare God's truths, the promises that declare we are more than conquerors. The lies of pain must bow before the truth of His love. Heads nodded, a chorus of agreement resounding like a soft prayer. Each affirmation echoed the commitment to step into the fullness of God's grace together. As they began to discuss what the future could hold, a hush fell over them once more. In 40 days, Mary spoke, her tone reverent. We will ignite a new beginning. We will witness transformation that defines who God says we are. They gathered their thoughts, and the weight of anticipation pressed gently upon their hearts. Mary sensed a divine presence among them. Can I encourage you to pray for one another every day? Let us write these truths down. Let us seek God in this journey and lift each other up. With that, they closed their eyes, hands clasped in unity, and prayed fervently. As the last amen echoed softly in the hallowed space, a sense of peace blanketed the room. It felt as if a new chapter had begun, one woven with threads of hope, connection, and unwavering courage. The path ahead was uncertain, yet they awaited God's revelation. What awaited them as they embarked on this sacred journey? What miraculous revelations would unfold in the days to come? The days rolled into one another, each marked by the flicker of hope and the soft glow of unwavering faith lighting the chapel. Mary could hardly believe the transformation that had swept through their hearts. Each gathering brewed a sacred alchemy. Tears of sorrow were exchanged for tears of joy. With each testimony shared, burdens lightened and spirits soared like birds released from their cages. Ethan stood at the center of their newfound community, his laughter a chorus that resonated deep within the hearts of those gathered. His youthful spirit had become an emblem of the miracle they all yearned for, a lighthouse guiding them through the fog of struggles. On day 20, during one of their evening prayers, his pure voice rose above the rest, capturing everyone's attention. Mom, I think we're on the verge of something incredible. Can you feel that? Mary's heart warmed at her son's genuine excitement. Yes, Ethan. Together, we're igniting something wonderful, she exclaimed, a ripple of enthusiasm spreading through the gathering. Each testimony stoked the flames of faith, intertwining like tendrils of smoke climbing towards heaven. Night after night, they courageously laid bare their fears, wrapped tightly in divine promise. Mary listened in awe as each story unfolded, like petals blooming under the sun. Every woman who spoke of brokenness found strength in communal assurance. Every man who shared of his toil found support that softened the weight he carried. On the 40th day, a palpable anticipation filled the chapel. Villagers shuffled in, hearts echoing with expectation. Each candle was lit, their flames dancing with fervor, a reflection of their hopes rising to the heavens. Silently, they began to pray, their voices soft as whispers. Suddenly, the winds outside howled, and the heavens above darkened as clouds gathered, much like their own doubts that had once loomed large. Yet instead of fear, a resolute stillness settled over them. Mary stood at the forefront, her heart thrumming. A deep knowing surged through her. "Brothers and sisters," she called out, her voice echoing with purpose. "Tonight we embrace both victory and surrender. Under these tremulous skies, we choose to step forward in faith, believing that God's miracles are not just upon us, but within us." Trembling with anticipation, the group joined hands, closing their eyes, beckoning divine intervention. As their voices united, a soft warmth enveloped the chapel, swaying gently as if responding to their sacred melody. Mary could hardly contain her emotion, tears slipping down her cheeks, glistening with gratitude. They needed this moment, a declaration of divine synergy, of faith that conquered fear. Above the sound of the storm, something remarkable happened. A golden light flickered through the stained glass, illuminating the figures of saints, their serene faces aglow with divine love. Gasps erupted from the villagers as they opened their eyes, stunned by the ethereal presence that now surrounded them. Ethan pointed excitedly. "Look, Mom, it's like they're smiling at us." His innocent joy sparkled within the crowd, lifting their spirits even higher. Laughter intertwined with awe as the villagers understood the culmination of their prayers. Their united hearts was manifesting right before them. Suddenly, as if the heavens themselves could not contain the blessing any longer, a voice echoed within the hearts of those gathered, soft yet resonant. "My beloved children, behold the miracles woven from your faith. You have journeyed through trials, and now you stand firm in my embrace. These miracles are not merely for Ethan, for he resonates with the laughter of the dawn in your hearts. These are for all of you." Gasps turned to applause, and the villagers embraced one another, tears cascading from eyes filled with wonder. Mary felt a surge of presence, a warm energy that swept away doubts, replacing them with an exhilarating peace born from trust. "Each of us has risen," she said, tears streaming freely now, hewn together through struggles, our faith igniting divine transformations. "We are an army of miracles, God's servants, ready to share our stories with the world." With joy now overflowing, each villager dared to share what had blossomed in their lives. Newfound strength in vulnerability, healing from past hurts, restoration in relationships, their once silent burdens transformed into testimonies of triumph. The storm outside began to dissipate, rain falling gently like mercy. In the chapel, every eye glimmered with a fierce light, hearts swelling as the final words echoed through the sacred space. Their testimonies intertwined, forming a vibrant tapestry of faith, representing each miracle nurtured among them. Mary raised her hands in gratitude, offering a heartfelt prayer of blessing over her beloved community. "Dear Lord, we stand together, grateful for your vision, for lighting our path forward. May our lives reflect the miracles birthed in these sacred days. We hope to carry this light into the world, spreading hope to those still shrouded in darkness." As the service drew to a close, the final amen hung in the air, a whisper of promise and possibility. Each villager stepped out into the renewed world, carrying the light of their shared love and transformed spirits. This was the moment their faith had longed for, the beautifully woven fabric of their lives revealing the miraculous versions of themselves. Mary turned to Ethan. "We did it. Miracles are real, Ethan. They live in our hearts and find their way through our actions." They exchanged a knowing glance, an unspoken bond strengthened. As the sun began to peek through the receding clouds, the entire community emerged on the threshold of their renewed lives, ready to embrace every challenge, each moment a divine invitation to bloom anew. The sky brightened, a brilliant canvas cast upon the horizon, reflecting the deep truths they now held. They stepped forth, united by faith, forever changed and ready to spread the seeds of love, hope, and miraculous revelations. Now, dear audience, your journey awaits. If you felt the power of this story, you need to subscribe now. Don't wait even one more second to support this channel. Leave a like so the algorithm knows to spread this transformative message. Comment your reactions and testimonies about this miraculous ending, and share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation of love and faith. This is the moment to show your support because only true servants of God understand the importance of lifting each other up. Let us inspire the world together.